Okay, so this is a short video to help you shift the weight from one leg, one foot, one side, and then to the other and back again. It's going to be a useful procedure for any part of your Tai Chi form, basically. And that's why most classes that I teach in Tai Chi, we nearly always spend some time at the beginning practicing this. I'm going to assume, for the purposes of this video, that you've already adopted the principles of the Wuji stance. So, you know, we've gone through relaxing the whole body. Not going to go through all the principles again, but you know what they are to a great extent. The main thing we're going to talk about here is that the lower dantian, or just the dantian, which is sometimes it's known as here, we often think about, or it's sometimes called the field of elixir, isn't it, in some definitions, that in Tai Chi we often think about it being like a bowl, and that this bowl has substance. Maybe it has, you know, it's full of water or chi. However you think about it, there's this idea of a receptacle, a container with this substance in it. Water's great because, of course, as it fills up the bowl, there's a level surface on the top of the bowl, okay? Now, to begin with, of course, as the weight's bang in the centre, making sure that your knees are, of course, over the centre of the feet, which is key. The spine, of course, is straight. All these things are part of the Wuji Standing form, which we all know about. So, if it's helpful, if you've got a line on the wall in front of you, something to look at, I've got some doors in front of me, there's a line there I can use as a straight line, so that when I do shift my weight to one side, I don't start tilting over. Okay, I keep my spine straight. That's one of the most important things to think about when you shift from side to side. The other thing to think about too is that I don't, to compensate or whatever reason, I don't stick my hip out either. The hip and knee and the column that we talk about, the two columns from, you know, the upper gates through the lower gates, through the knees and through the centre of the feet, are always aligned. Okay, so, and just of course breathing deeply into the belly. So this is something that I think it would be really good to do. You can do it every day. You can do it just on an ordinary everyday thing like waiting for a kettle to boil, for instance. So let's just go through one of the things that people tend to do, which is, I'd like to say, not the right way of doing it, okay? So they have in their mind, right, I'm going to stand on one leg. So, one leg, I'm going to shift over to one leg, and I'm going to stand on this one leg, and that means I've got to lift something off the ground, and look, there I am, standing on one leg, but what's all this waving and movement going on? That means you're not doing it. So we have this idea that to stand on one leg, something's got to come up, and we've got to hold that upness, and sometimes even the breath gets held, and sort of people, and in Tai Chi, it's completely actually the opposite. Part of Wuji, a very fundamental part of Wuji, is letting go, isn't it? Letting go through the muscular system, letting go through the joint system, fascia, you know, all of the connecting tissues, etc., ligaments, tendons, etc. We give that tension, that holding, to the earth. And of course, at the same time, the crown at the top of the head is being held in the opposite direction, so there's that lovely length upwards, so that means the spine is elongating up and down at the same time. And just because we shift the weight over to one side, it doesn't mean we suddenly then tighten up in order, we think, to hold balance. Absolutely not at all. It's completely the reverse. It's the same lengthening opening through the spine, vertically and this way, but also horizontally through the hips and the shoulders, the spaces everywhere in the joints. All we're doing is focusing more on one leg, one foot, and thinking down into the ground. And this is why I spend a lot of time in my classes that as people shift the weight, they start to feel the weight pouring down into one leg, that you see your roots going down into the ground, these metaphorical roots, through the floor, through the whatever foundations of the building you're on, you know, what topsoil underneath that, subsoil underneath that. We always talk about the root ball of a tree, and they tend to go deep and they tend to spread out, not just to the sides, to the front and to the back. So we use a feeling of spreading out, of going into the feet as well. So of course the front of the foot is much more of a place as it absorbs the weight of the body to spread. The metatarsals spread, the toes are engaged, and we often, you know, teachers I've had in the past have talked about almost like wearing a snowshoe, you know, like a great big sort of tennis bat thing that's spread out much wider, much further than your actual foot. The other thing to concentrate too is, of course, that particularly the long toes as well, that they are not gripping the ground, but you do want to make sure that every single toe is engaged in connecting to the ground. The outside edge, the little toe to the heel, is very important, and that we maintain the arch through the groin and the lower legs in order to keep experiencing the same part of the leg when you shift the weight onto one side as we do onto two sides. So in the centre, there's definitely want to feel a sense of that openness from the arch of the foot coming all the way up, and the arch of the groin and the pelvis here. So going back to a fundamental message is that the tendency when, you know, beginners try and do this is they come to one side and they experience more tension, more weight on one leg, more substance, and so they naturally tighten because they think tightness is strength. But you often see this sort of going on. So what we say in Tai Chi is completely the opposite, is that you shift this is why you move slowly and gently, because it's like pouring water. Say for one leg you pour it into the empty leg, which starts to fill up with water. You sink, and this is a fundamental thing, that you sink and connect to the roots. Think down into the ground. The more water, the more weight you put on, the more you think down and spread out. See those lovely roots. They're still there even when you come to the centre, and they're still there, of course, equally in the opposite foot, deep into the ground. And there's a particular organ pair in Chinese medicine, the stomach and spleen, which is to do with the earth element, the 5 elements from nature that the Chinese work with. And if we don't have a strong foundation, if we don't have our connections to the earth element, how's a building going to stay upright? How is a tree going to stay upright in the wind and all that kind of thing? So we are no different. So that as we pour the weight and we make one side substantial, the reason why we do it slowly is that we feel and we notice every single muscle, ligament, tendon, everything I've been talking about, every tendency to sort of tighten up, to think, oh no, I'm going to have to resort to this to hold my body. Not at all. In fact, completely the opposite. Let go. And once you've let go again. Once you've let go again, let go some more. And use the golden thread, the crown connection to heaven. Okay? Keep the bowl. It may well be full of water, full of light, so there's a nice calm flat surface. And so the more that you bring the weight off one leg, the more you sink, the more you let go, the more away you are of all the muscles, ligaments, tendons that are trying to tighten up. Give all that effort to the ground. And it's the ground's job to receive unwanted, dead, decaying pathogens, I don't know, stresses, illnesses. It's its job to receive all that and to transform it. So the phrase, going back to the 2 organs of the body, particularly one of the spleen, is the spleen's job is to confirm the ability to feel lightness in the body. And one of the things about this letting go as I'm talking about, is that the more you do it, the more you focus on it, really, you can start to play with the empty leg. You can practice, as if you're going to step in backwards or forwards in different directions. And B, the upper body starts to just feel naturally lighter as a byproduct. So, even the weight of the world, which sometimes can hang on particularly the shoulder area, that kind of thing, starts to just lift off. It's one of the fantastic byproducts of learning Tai Chi, of doing this profoundly simple exercise. But watch your breathing. Just breathe normally. Think about the lower dantian, and one of the tendencies too is that when we go to one side, we raise up, thinking that, to balance, this idea of balancing on one leg. Don't do that. Stay low. Keep your centre of gravity low. The knees are bent, never beyond the toes, as we know. And you are simply shifting that bowl without tilting or tipping the water or the light in the bowl, either out the front, back, sides, not tipping it anywhere. Let your breathing be natural. Breathe in and out through the nose if you can, obviously through the mouth if your nasal passages are blocked, and hold that line in front of you. But practice this daily. Breathe into the belly. Okay, come back to the centre, and we'll finish there. Thank you.